In the market for an inflatable paddleboard? Well, have I got the video for you. Stay tuned and let's figure out what this BOTE is all about. All right, bear with me, it's about 1,000,000 degrees, but we're gonna go over which one to get because there are a few options. How easy is it to use? And is it worth the investment to get one? All right, so the one I got is the Flood Aero 11-foot native tropics inflatable paddleboard. Try saying that fast 3 times. I got this one because it was a good option for like beginner, general, leisurely use. You know, if you don't want to be necessarily surfing in waves or doing it all the time and being really advanced, if you just want to leisurely go out and paddleboard, this was a good option for it. It was about the middle range price-wise of their inflatable paddleboard range, and it was about $900. So they also had a slightly cheaper one at $800, that was the Breeze, and then a slightly more expensive one at about I think it was like $1,150. That was the HD option. So this one was sort of sitting right in the middle, and since it was in the middle, it wasn't so basic that you don't have sort of cool extra features, and so basic that, you know, a little more flimsy and probably have to replace it sooner, but it wasn't so advanced that you're, you know, investing more money for things that you might not even know if you like using yet or want to use yet. And the extras I liked on this one were the double storage. It had storage at both ends, and that was really important to me. I wanted to be able to, if I was going out for a full day, like put all my stuff on the board. And also the Magnapod, I'll show you that in a second, but they sell magnetized cups, so you can put a little cooler insulated cup on your board and it's stuck there with the magnet, and it's a pretty cool feature. It also came with the racks, the rack receiver thing, but that's more for fishing. I don't plan to be fishing on it, so it wasn't really important to me, but it is good to keep your options open, so I did like it for that reason. So the HD actually had a lot of advanced features that I probably wasn't gonna get my money's worth for, just being like a beginner leisurely user of the paddleboard. So that one went out pretty soon, and it came down to the Breeze and this one. And the thing that really sold me on this one was that it has aero boat technology, and basically that's just a double layer of construction, so you get that second layer of protection on the board, which is really great if you're a little bit clumsy like me. I'm talking double the construction, I'm talking double protection, and you know what, when you're clumsy and you're maybe not so good at steering it yet, you might need that. When it comes down to inflatable or solid boards, inflatable is definitely the best choice for me because of the portability and the investment level. Pretty much the same versions of this in a solid board. They had one slightly smaller, one slightly bigger. We're between like $1,500 and $1,700 of an investment, and then I'd also have to get like some sort of roof rack or some way to transport it around since I don't have that, and then I'd have a little bit more trickiness around storage since I don't have a garage or anything. So inflatable is definitely the best option for me in terms of entry-level pricing and then the portability. Perfect for me because I can just leave it in my wardrobe, like packed up in that backpack. I just chuck it in my wardrobe. I leave it in the lounge room half the time, honestly, and it just sits there. It doesn't take up too much space or, you know, interfere with my lifestyle in any way. I can also, when I want to go out, chuck it in the back of the car. It's no problem. I like being able to just put it in the back of the car or in the trunk and then just go for a drive. In terms of traveling, that was another thing that I had in mind when I was getting this board, because I could travel with that pretty easily for a road trip if I want to go to different parts of Florida and explore the springs and beautiful places. And even flying with it, I could probably do that. I don't know if I would because I'm a very minimal flyer, but you know, I have that option open to me, which is good. Now the bag, in terms of carrying it around, the bag when it's full is about 42 pounds. So it's pretty heavy, but once it's on your back, I don't really notice it as much once it's on. Sometimes getting it onto my back can be a little tricky if the contents of the bag like sort of shifts and you're not ready for it. At the start I had to get used to that. It almost toppled me over a couple of times, but it's not too bad to be able to carry like from the car to the water or from the apartment to the car. It's pretty easy, and the only thing is it's not like so portable. Sometimes when I was looking at inflatable paddle boards, they made it seem like, oh, you could just chuck it on your back and like go cycling or just be walking around with it for ages. 42 pounds is still a lot of weight, and that's just your board. You still need water and sunscreen and snacks and all that other stuff you take with you. So it's not something you're gonna like do a long hike to a beach or something like that. But in terms of just getting it from the car to the beach, it's pretty easy. This backpack, a paddle, this pump, these rack receivers, a manual, a stubby cooler, some stickers, also this repair kit, and a board that'll have you ready for a bloody good time. When it comes to how easy is it to use, it probably couldn't be more simple to use. That's one of the great things about these boat boards. All you do is lay it out, you attach the hose to the pump, and then the other end of the hose to the board. It clips in really easily, so none of that is complicated. You just pump it up then, that's all you gotta do. They say to pump this one between 10 and 15 PSI. I usually do about 12 just to be in the middle of that. And it takes me, I timed it a few times. The first time was like 5.5 minutes. Now I do it at about 5 minutes. So it doesn't really take too long. The first 3 minutes are fairly simple. You're kind of just going, you know, with a nice rhythm. And then at about the 3-minute mark, everything changes. You start questioning your decision to do this, and it gets a little bit heavy. You do have to put your back into it. That's why at the gym, we never skip back day. But the last 2 minutes are a little bit more intensive work. If you have a basic level of fitness, it's really nothing crazy. I saw when I was looking at reviews, people sort of over-exaggerating how strenuous it is. I don't think it's that strenuous if you know, got that basic level of fitness. But you do get a nice pump going, and I find it to be like a good warm-up, getting your arms and shoulders ready for the paddling. And also you'll notice when you start pumping it, the gauge, like, it doesn't do anything for a while. So you're pumping, you can see the board inflating, but the gauge isn't really moving. It just goes really, really slow at the start, and then it sort of moves really fast towards the end. So just know, if you can see it inflating, then everything's working and you're doing it right, and just keep going, and then, you know, about the halfway mark, it'll start moving a little faster. The only downside I've experienced in terms of portability is if you're by yourself, if you want to go out paddleboarding for a bit, then you're kind of leaving this bag with the pump, the backpack and the pump on the beach, really. So you might not want to do that, depending on, you know, the area where you're swimming and stuff. That can be a little bit annoying. I found mostly either I go places like this where I'm not going to go out very far and I can see everything, or if I'm at other beaches, sometimes I just pump it kind of really close to the car, where there's a soft area, pump it up and then chuck the bag back into the car and just leave it there and then go out paddling. That way I don't have to like leave my pumped up board down at the beach and drop anything back to the car, but I also don't have to like leave my pump on the beach just sitting there, you know. But that's really only an issue if you're by yourself. If you've got friends, lucky you, and you might not have that issue. You can just leave the stuff, you know, with the group stuff. The other big question I got about the board was around stability. How stable is it compared to a solid board? It's definitely slightly less stable than a solid board, but I would say as long as you pump it up to the appropriate amount for that board, it's actually super stable. I haven't had any issues like falling in or losing balance or anything like that. Like, I haven't had any issues with the stability of the board when it's on the water. So if you're worried about that, like, I wouldn't be too worried, because they pump up and they're really firm. Like, you just stand on it, it's like standing on a hard surface. So haven't had any issues with that. The only issues I've had with it is that the inflatable boards, compared to a solid board, they're a little bit more susceptible to the wind. So when you start using it, you might want to go on a low wind day, because I started using it on super high wind days and it was a horrible experience. It was so strenuous it was just like a strenuous task trying to just get past the wind and fighting the wind. It was horrible. I couldn't be in the moment, like getting used to the board or anything. I was just fighting the elements, and it was horrible, and the wind was really strong against the board, you know, because it is inflatable, and so it does move around a little bit easier in the wind, which is a little bit annoying. But if you start with some low wind days, like the first time I got to use it on a low wind day, it was a beautiful experience. I got to really get into the rhythms and just enjoy the moment, instead of just it being this like gutsing it out, you know, trying to beat the wind. It got to be like an actual nice moment where I just enjoyed the rhythms of the board and how to steer it and how to use it, and it was a really good experience. So the first time you use it, I would recommend just going for a low wind day. So overall, super happy with my purchase, really love my board. The only challenging part is pumping it up, but the trade-off of portability and the cost of the investment of it was well worth it for me, so it hasn't been a big issue. And I really hope this can help you if you're in the market for an inflatable paddleboard. I'll leave a link in the description to these ones. Have a look, because they have a big range for different uses, so there might be a different one that suits you better. But I hope this helps give you, you know, some understanding of what they are and how to use them. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye. If you like this video, don't forget to tell YouTube you like the video by hitting the thumbs up button. Subscribe to my channel for more videos, and leave me a comment. That really helps the algorithm too. Bye.